I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, July the 17th, brought to you in part by Legacy Beef Co-op. Invest and become a member. You'll get access to ownership of Cattlemen's Heritage Beef, a new beef packing plant that's being constructed near Council Bluffs, Iowa. You get access to a less volatile pricing model based off of dressed beef prices, and you can reserve your harvest spot once you become a member. I'm going to attach a video once again of me interviewing James Timmerman, who is heading up the Legacy Beef Co-op. And for more information and a way to get a hold of them, go to legacybeefcoop.com. Still climbing. New contract highs were posted on Wednesday in your live cattle futures, but August live cattle and October are still trading at about a $13 discount to our latest cash fat cattle market. So they've got a ways to climb yet. Now feeder cattle futures, they have surged into uncharted territory. They have blown by your latest cash feeder cattle index levels despite all-time record high posts in sale barns both late last week and early this week. They have gone higher than we ever thought that they would go. Your cash index levels and your board for both August and September have surpassed that. So that's going to be interesting. Now, I talked on our last visit on the feeder flash that how high is too high, and I figured that, and there were some people that were sensitive to that. And I see their point, and I wasn't blind to it when I gave the report, but everything is high. I mean, you look at pickups are $100,000 to get one equipped like you want. I mean, you look at the price of tractors, you look at the price of every single thing that there is to buy, and it's really up there. But your slaughter cows are now trading up to and over $1.80 if they're high dressed and then in good shape there. But it's just very impressive. Your cow-calf producers, we're happiest for them. We're happiest for your cow-calf producers because they have struggled for quite some time. They were hoping to scratch out a living on calves that were bringing just a little over $1,000 a head. And now they're getting to enjoy calves selling for over $2,500 per head. So they can catch up a little bit. But your winter backgrounders, on cattle that were bought halfway right, or those that had outstanding gains on wheat or some kind of winter forage, and your feedlot cattle on closeouts that perform well, they are making serious money on these cattle. I mean, I've heard of profits both in the feedlot and on backgrounding cattle from $700 to $850 per head. That's pretty serious, guys, and I hope it keeps going up. But I mean, I know that what goes up must come down, and I stress that you guys need to stay protected, especially as we get over this huge hump here going towards fall. But you look at your board here. August live cattle futures up $1.50 at $223.90 on Wednesday. October was up $147 at $220.75. Your back months were all up on live cattle, up $122 to $187 higher. August feeder cattle up $330 at $325.57. Now that's why your CME cash feeder cattle index is not quite 323. And your real-time index is 322.5, but it's really getting up there. September feeder cattle up 347 at 325.85. Back months on feeder cattle all about that much higher, up 340 to up 390. Corn for new crop December up 4 1/4 cents a bushel at 424. November new crop beans up 18 3/4 at 1020.5, and it was struggling to hang on to $10 a bushel there, so it got a little breather there to stay above that. Hard red winter wheat for September down a penny at 522 3/4. Your fat cattle trade on a direct basis out of your 5-area feeding region, not much. You know, we heard some more stirring. There was some more packers calling around and some bids going around, but still didn't shake much loose. Iowa didn't sell anything on Wednesday that was confirmed. They've sold about 800 head so far this week. I did hear from private sources they had some late bids of 242 that were bid and passed. That would be a couple bucks higher than last week. So I guess if things keep going like they are, it's going to be higher. Nebraska has not traded a hoof confirmed from USDA so far this week. I did hear there was some late trade in Iowa to regional packer at 244. That's going to be a pretty sweet market if they do that, and going to cause this board to live cattle futures to keep going up. Kansas sold 200 head on Wednesday, and they've sold 1,200 for the week. Live price in Kansas on Wednesday was 230. That was the extreme top of last week in the Southern Plains there. Basically, they had some in northern Kansas trade a little bit better than that, linked to the northern plains trade, but 230 is pretty good for the Southern Plains. Fed Cattle Exchange sold cattle in the Texas feedlot area on the New Mexico side. 230 to 231 bid the grid, and they were excellent quality cattle, and could very well bring back $8 to $10 more than that. Texas hasn't sold a hoof yet. They actually quoted half a load of cattle that sold earlier in the week, but that's not worth reporting. Sioux Falls Regional Livestock Market in Worthing, South Dakota had a fat cattle auction, 700 head of slaughter cattle. The fed cattle sold $7 to $10 higher. Conventional fed cattle in Worthing, South Dakota sell from $242.5 to $246.75. We just thought that market sounded good direct on things that were just kind of starting to take place. Program cattle in Sioux Falls Regional up to $248. Glacial Lakes Livestock in Watertown, South Dakota had a slaughter cattle auction with 800 head on offer. Fed cattle sold $4 to $5 higher. Conventional fed cattle selling from $238 to $243, and program cattle from $240 to $246.5. They had Holstein steers sell from $2 to $215, and big fat fed cows like they have up there in the Dakotas from $168 to $173. Box beef cutout values were down hard on Wednesday. Choice cuts down $487 at $372.85, and selects down $467 at $357.91. Your slaughter so far this week up through Wednesday, the total estimated cattle slaughter of 347,000. That's 2,000 less than this point last week, 16 less than this point a year ago this week. Talk about what else is going on. Superior steel sales, we're talking about them all the time. That is a big outfit. It sits right next to Joplin Regional Stockyards on I-44 in Carthage, Missouri. The Superior Standard line of handling equipment there, it's just what you want. I mean, heavy enough to do what you need to do, but you could still move it around if you had to. Check out all their products from Superior Standard, but they also have just bare equipment there. Pipe, if you're looking to build pipe corrals, they've got all the pipe you need, everything you need there. But check out all their products at superiorsteelsales.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They're working to protect your livelihood. Your real-time index on Wednesday after your sales had concluded sitting at 322.53. That was up 77 cents. Latest CME cash feeder cattle index at 321.91. Look at your big sales on Wednesday. Of course, OKC West in El Reno, Oklahoma, they had 4,700 for their two-day sale with calves on Tuesday and feeders on Wednesday. The feeder steers were $4 to $10 higher. Feeder heifers $4 to $12 higher. Steer calves $6 to $10 higher. And heifer calves $4 to $9 higher. Man, that's quite a sale. It was your Superior Steel Sales Superior Standard Handling Equipment stick-out sale of the day. You look at this automated market report that's just from the Wednesday sale, just from the feeder sale there, and you check out these impressive quotes there. 750 head of the 7-weight steers averaged 736 at 342.76. 474 head of the 8-weight steers averaged 856 at 316.68, and 582 head of 9-weight steers averaged 933 at 299.71. Look at the heifers. 279 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 660 at 322.50. 145 head of 7-weight heifers averaged 740 at 314.24, and 180 head of the 8-weight heifers averaged 822 at 302.54. Look at some other markets from all around the circuit. Out in Nevada, livestock marketing, some of my old stomping ground there at Fallon, Nevada. They had the Wilson calves come in from Oregon, 2 weeks wean on them there, so pretty short weaned. They come in there, and there were 90 head of them. Not a lot of strings I like calves selling right now, but 90 head of the steer calves weighed 472 and bring 422.50 headed east out of Fallon, Nevada. Up at closer to home for me anyway, Texhoma Livestock Exchange in Texhoma, Oklahoma. They had a long string of big heavy steers come in right off the grass from Boise City, Oklahoma. There were 177 head of them. They weighed 962. My friend Ashley Nolan sells them for $317.50. How about Lewiston Livestock Market in Lewiston, Idaho? They had 168 steers, weighed 849, bring 327. Wow. Let's go out east at Bluegrass Stockyards in Campbellsville, Kentucky. Dwayne Mays has found a home there. I tell you what, he's living up in Indiana there close to his grandkids and background in cattle, marketing them in Campbellsville, Kentucky. He had 80 steers in there, weighed 801 at 339 in Campbellsville, Kentucky, guys. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday in your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day come out of Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. Not their fed cattle sale, but their feeder cattle sale on Wednesday. They sold 149 head of 836-pound steers, bring 341.75. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday. I'm Corbett Wall with this feeder flash feature. I'm going to be interviewing James Timmerman here with Legacy Beef Cooperative and Cattlemen's Heritage Beef. How are you doing, James?
Good. How are you doing, Corbett?
Now, this is the first time we've met, right?
That's correct.
But the Timmerman name is synonymous with top quality cattle feeding and top quality beef production, right?
Yes, it is.
Can you tell me a little bit about that and how it ties in with this new venture?
Yes. So my family is, like you said, in the cattle feeding, ranching business. All started with my grandfather in the mid-40s, moved to Omaha, Nebraska, and built a feed yard there to be closer to the stockyards. My dad and his brothers took over the family business and grew it in western Nebraska and eastern Colorado. And they themselves got involved in beef processing in the mid-90s. And so that family legacy really is expanded to two brothers and cousins who are in the cattle feeding business. And myself, I kind of chose a little different path and went into beef processing and was in the business for 25 years. And so it's kind of led me here to Legacy Beef Co-op.
So you got a lot of background in this industry. What drew you to Legacy Beef Cooperative and Cattlemen's Heritage Beef?
So I've heard about the project for the last few years and just got a little bit of information. We discussed the co-op model. I thought it was perfect for the industry at this time in kind of the development of beef processing. And so I really wanted to be part of the team, and kind of coincidence, they were needing some assistance with the co-op. And so then in October of 2024, I decided to join Legacy Beef and work on the project.
So last time we were interviewing Chad Tenninger, and you have become involved with him with this venture, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Now he has experience in this, and he was telling us about the efficiencies that he's put into this new plant. Do you see these efficiencies and how they're going to help the success of this plant in the long run?
I really do, because a lot of the plants now being developed in the last 4 or 5 years, the technology is really amplified to where it was, where there's a lot more robotics involved in the actual processing and the sorting of beef products, also in the storage, where it really helps reduce the labor needed for beef processing, which in turn, with labor being the biggest cost, reduce the cost and makes the plant much more efficient.
I see. James, can you give our audience just a kind of an overview of Legacy Beef Cooperative and Cattlemen's Heritage Beef, what we're talking about exactly?
Yes. So Legacy Beef Co-op is the co-op that producers will join and be members of. Cattlemen's Heritage is the beef processing plant being developed near Council Bluffs, Iowa. So the members of Legacy Beef will be equity members in Cattlemen's Heritage, and the equity we raise through the co-op, they will be 20% owners of Cattlemen's Heritage.
So what do you see valuable within the co-op model and eventually the Cattlemen's Heritage Beef plant?
What I like a lot about the co-op model is that it allows small to medium-sized cattle producers to be involved, one, in a co-op that helps them out in their operations. Plus, I think within the beef industry, I think we do need more producer involvement. So with this model, if you join the co-op and become a member of the co-op, you also have the opportunity to invest in Cattlemen's Heritage Beef as well. So you do have a little bit of equity into cattle and beef production.
So do you think ultimately this type of a model for the beef packing will help keep more smaller farmer feeders in business?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
And that's one thing that drew you to it.
That's really what draws me to it, is because I do think you hear a lot of stories being out in the country with small producers, anywhere from 2,500 head they feed to even up to 10,000, how they really are looking for better marketing opportunities and really more equitable arrangements compared to the larger feeders in the country.
Sure. Can you tell us a little bit about the investment model with Legacy Beef Cooperative and where we're at within that?
So the overall investment, we have 5 rounds of investment. Currently, we have sold through the first 2 rounds, so we're in the 3rd round. To what we are currently in right now is what we're calling our seed round, which is giving you the opportunity to reserve your space or shackle space in the investment in Cattlemen's Heritage. So right now, to reserve a spot is $10 per head. We'll reserve a spot in the co-op and you become a member of the co-op. The share price we're currently at in round 3 for the equity investment in Cattlemen's Heritage is $175 per share per shackle space.
Okay. And that's gone up from the first and second.
Correct.
Right?
So it was started at 125 for the first round, 150 for the second. So right now 175, and then round 4 is 200 and round 5 is 225.
Okay.
So there are advantages in getting in currently.
Right. So, but to reserve your spot, you need to be invested in one of the rounds at least, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, is there a maximum or a minimum of your spots that you can reserve?
The minimum would be, we say there's no minimum, but the best really is 1 load. So we do have members who are buying 40 shares just for
Just
one
for a
load a
load of
year.
cattle?
Yes, and there is no maximum.
Okay. And that's annually. So if you bought 40, you could send one load of fed cattle into the Cattlemen's Heritage Beef plant.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, good. So you've got a key date coming up here this summer. Tell me about July 1st and what that's going to kick off.
That's correct, Corbett. On July 1st, we are really going to start the co-op on an operational basis. So we are going to start offering members marketing opportunities for the cattle that are part of the co-op. Also look at ways that we can help them on their purchasing power. And really what the goal with that co-op starting on July 1st is really to give the small to medium producers the same, put them on the same level playing field as the big feed yards.
I see. So these shares, once you purchase them, they're going to have value, right? And will you be able to market them among other shareholders?
Yes. So really the way we have it structured is that per share that you purchase, you are obligated to deliver the animal. Then if you feel like you cannot make the delivery, then you do have the ability to lease those shares out to other members of the co-op that they can, you can have some value owning these shares and you can have cattle delivered on those shares.
We've seen something similar to this with U.S. premium beef in Kansas. So, and that those shares have become pretty valuable. Do you see that happening with this venture?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. What kind of cattle are we looking to harvest at Cattlemen's Heritage Beef? Do you have a target?
Currently, we don't have a specific target, but as most beef processors, we're looking for a high grade, high quality beef. But really, we're not going to specify exactly what we need to have delivered.
So, James, this whole venture has kind of been based off of marketing the cattle off of the dressed beef price rather than the live market or the way some of your big four packers price the cattle or purchase the cattle. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yes. So we are looking for the pricing the cattle is using the USDA choice market as the base and plan on gridding the cattle with premiums and discounts based off of USDA choice, which is different than buying them live or buying them just dressed beef.
Right. And the market's been really good, all-time record highs here posted within the last few months on every class of cattle that there is, but that's not going to last forever.
That's correct.
So
That's correct.
we may be able to insulate some of these producers from the downside of this going forward, don't you think?
Yes, yes. We feel like, really with the pricing model we have in place for the cattle, it really it gives protection because you're going to be paid what the plant is selling you beef for. So you really get the true value of your beef.
I see. So you're basically going to be sharing more of the pie than what cattle feeders are used to, the way things have been set up, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Great.
Yes.
So this is primarily set up for smaller feeders. Of course, a bigger feeder could get involved in it too. But how many cattle are we looking to harvest annually?
So annually, we're looking to harvest about 525,000 head annually. So 2,000 head a day on one shift per day.
So is that how many shares there's going to be put out then is 525,000
That's correct.
annually?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so all of those cattle. So you won't be having to get short of cattle and be looking for them. You'll know that they're coming. How will you schedule the cattle in?
The way I look at it is that really once you know your cattle are ready to come in, you need to call us. We'll schedule based on really first come, first serve. If you call, we'll put up if we know the week your cattle are ready, we'll schedule them. But we also will probably need to go out on the market some in certain months, especially in the summer,
to fill some gaps.
To fill in some gaps.
I see. Okay. Now, you're also looking at producers further in the line to maybe fill some of these gaps, and you've got a cow-calf program cow-calf producer program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So we are looking and visiting with cow-calf producers all throughout the country. And as you know, the market right now, they are selling their calves with a pretty good profit. But as we also know that the market there will be a downturn. So what we are really is targeting with cow-calf producers is that they become members of the co-op. They own the shares, so it really gives them a lot of flexibility based on the market. Either they can sell their calves like they currently are now, and then lease their shares out to the feeders who buy them. But then the cow calf would still get benefits of ownership in terms of delivery fees and equity. But it gives them a little protection that if they want to retain ownership in their calves, they can feed them out and then have somewhere to go that will still give them a hedge and true value of what their carcasses are worth.
Right. So Legacy Beef Cooperative has pretty much all been set up to get the investment and get the core to get Cattlemen's Heritage Beef going, right?
Correct.
Okay. And do we have a time frame on Cattlemen's Heritage Beef when we think we would have that going and could start harvesting some cattle?
Currently, we are still scheduled to start groundbreaking towards the end of this year, which would it's a 2-year construction project, so probably the beginning of 2028. But as we explore market conditions, especially in the next few months, and look at heifer retention, we do also have the ability to delay a little bit and open when the market conditions seem more advantageous.
As tight as packer margins are right now, I wouldn't blame you by
Yes.
dragging your feet just a little bit. So might be better for the whole project if you do.
Yes, yes.
But it's just it's right on the horizon here. I mean, it'll be here before you know it.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. So of the 5 rounds of investment, we've made it through the first 2, and then we're working on the 3rd round. How much longer do you think it'll take to finish that up?
Well, our goal for the next round really is to have it completed by July 1st, and then move on to the next.
I see. So if we've got some listeners that are interested in investing into Legacy Beef Cooperative, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you guys and see what they want to do?
Well, the best way to get a hold of us is go to our website, which is www.legacybeefcoop.com, and there is a submission form where you can send us your information. You can email me directly at james@legacybeefcoop.com or call me at 531-375-6559.
Well, we're moving right along on this Legacy Beef Cooperative investment, and it won't be long before we're going to have groundbreaking on this Cattlemen's Heritage Beef plant. It's an exciting new venture, the efficiencies we've talked about, and it was great to get to talk to you and learn more about this project.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad I could share it with you.
Until next time, I'm Corbett Wall with this Feeder Flash feature.